What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ review. We're going to rank all the movies that I saw in 2023, and it was a lot. I saw 182 movies in 2023. Because of that, I don't want to sit here for a few hours. Basically, I've got one or two sentences written about each one, and we're just going to roll through this, all right? So let's go ahead and start with the worst. At number 182, we have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and I wrote one sentence about it. One of the worst movies I've ever seen, and it was. All right, number 181, Mystery Island, a generic Hallmark attempt at Knives Out. Number 180, Love at First Sight, a painfully boring attempt at a love story, and it was painfully boring. Number 179, Best Christmas Ever, Netflix's worst attempt at a Christmas movie ever. My review for that is up. It was not good, guys. Number 178, Scouts Honor. This was a dishonest documentary about the Boy Scouts of America. I have a lot of history with the Boy Scouts. Yeah, there's a colorful history there, but 99.9% of the people who work for the Scouts are wonderful people who just want what's best for the kids. Number 177, Cocaine Shark, a terrible shark movie that doesn't even live up to the title. That's right, no cocaine in the movie. Number 176, House Party, a terrible and unfunny remake. Number 175, Miguel Wants to Fight, a Hulu movie that attempts to be funny but fails miserably, and fail it did. It took me about 3 viewings to get through it. Number 174, Missing, the Lucille Blackman Case. This was a Netflix documentary that bored me to tears. Number 173, Mystic Christmas, and it was mystically another Hallmark Christmas fail. Number 172, The Blessing Bracelet. This was a Hallmark movie that tries to be sweet but just ends up being cringe. Number 171, A Christmas Karen. The woke concept sounds funny, but becomes cringy very quickly. Number 170, Rescuing Christmas, a completely generic Hallmark Christmas attempt. Have you noticed a theme with the Hallmark movies? By the way, my wife and other members of my family, the female members of my family, like the Hallmark movies, so I end up watching a lot of them. All right, number 169, Never Been Christ, a Hallmark movie that tries to be original but isn't. Number 168, Prom Pact, a Disney Plus movie that's a chore to get through and the definition of DEI agenda driven. Number 167, Quasi, a Hulu comedy about Quasimodo that isn't funny. Number 166, The Bad Guys Christmas Special. Now, this is a Christmas special that would probably work for kids, and I'm just not the target audience for it, and that's okay. Number 165, Mummies, a computer animated movie that feels like it came straight out of 1996, animation and all. Number 164, Disney Parks' 40th Annual Christmas Parade. I counted this one as a movie because it's feature length, and it took feature length time for me to get through it. Overproduced, and it has a been there, done that feel to it. Number 163, Candy Cane Lane, one of Eddie Murphy's worst movies ever. And I'm not kidding, it was awful. Number 162, Crocodile Island, a kaiju movie with neat ideas that's just extremely poorly executed. Number 161, Merry Little Batman. There's nothing here for me. Hopefully it brings kids to Batman and introduces some kids to the world, but it did nothing for me. Number 160, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. A well-made movie, just again, not made for me. It's not my type of film. Number 169, Chicken Nugget, Dawn of the Nugget. Same as the last movie, as Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Very, very well made, and I gotta concede, it was a very well-made movie. This just wasn't my jam at all. Not something that I'm the least bit into. 158, For All Humankind, a documentary that was pretty boring, and didn't really offer any new information for me. Number 167, Love in the Maldives, a Hallmark movie with a nice location and a generic story. It's a Hallmark movie. Number 156, Hidden Strike, an action movie with some fun action sequences, but nothing compelling beyond that. 155, Spring Breakthrough, another Hallmark movie, generic but harmless. 154, Theater Camp. A lot of people like this one, and I can see that. A lot of people like this movie. I ain't get anything out of it. I don't see why anybody liked it. 153, Hoax, the kidnapping of Sherry Papini. This was a poorly adapted Lifetime true story. What actually happened was a lot more interesting than the movie that presented it. Number 152, Justice League War World. This was one of the worst DC animated adaptations ever. As a fan of the War World storyline, I don't know if they could have gotten this more wrong. Number 151, Pamela, a doc about a controversial person that fails to tell compelling or even controversial story. Number 150, Spy Kids Armageddon. There's a lot happening here, and a lot of it looks real good, but pretty much all of it is not for me. Number 149, Christmas Island. And I gotta say, for a Hallmark movie, this one had its moments. It's still a Hallmark movie. Number 148, Ghost Adventures Lake of Death. There's 2 Ghost Adventures documentaries on this list. I included them because they were feature-length. They were not just episodes, they were full feature-length documentaries, even though they played like Ghost Adventure episodes. So for a Ghost Adventures documentary, Lake of Death, it fell pretty flat. 147, Peter Pan and Wendy. Had some nostalgia, but was far too concerned with its DEI score to do anything compelling with the ideas. Number 146, Untold, Hall of Shame. This one is a one-sided look at the steroid era of baseball. Doesn't show any other perspectives, just the one perspective that steroids is bad, which steroids are bad, but there's a lot more to this story. Number 145, Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. All I wrote was, I'm sure some kids liked it. The animation looked good. Number 144, Batman, the Doom that came to Gotham. Not a dumpster fire, but DC animation is on a losing streak. 143, Shohei Ohtani, Beyond the Dream. An in-depth look at Major League Baseball's biggest star, but way too long and way too complimentary. I'm a big baseball fan, if you didn't know. Number 142, Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story. A nice tribute to Robert Englund, the actor that played Freddy Krueger. Way too long and played more like a... Honestly, I had kind of the same problem the Shohei Ohtani documentary did. It was way too complimentary. 141, Asteroid City. Wes Anderson's newest film that I can't imagine even the snobbiest of cinemaphile enjoying. I like some Wes Anderson stuff. I didn't like Asteroid City. Number 140. Dashing Through the Snow, Disney's latest Christmas movie that falls pretty flat. Number 139, Defying Death, Surviving Jaws. This is a shark documentary that tells stories of survival of shark attacks, but they're all stories that we've seen on Shark Week. So this oddly felt like a Shark Week recap. Entertaining, but it felt very been there, done that. Number 138, Disney 100, A Century of Dreams. A Disney commercial with some interesting historical tidbits thrown in here and there. And I love learning about Disney history, and there's some of that here, but this was very much a Disney commercial. Number 127, Hypnotic. This was a Ben Affleck vehicle that some people enjoyed, but I found it to be rather underwhelming. 136, Fourth Down in Love. Another Hallmark movie, but this was a Hallmark football movie. They attempted to draw in male viewers. It didn't completely fail, but it still had that same Hallmark formula. Number 135, the second of the Ghost Adventures documentaries, Ghost Adventures, The Devil's Island. Better than Lake of Death, but still kind of stale. Number 134, Love in the Great Smoky Mountains. Another Hallmark movie with a few moments, but it was overall very familiar. 133, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always. The nostalgia really worked here. Everything else was kind of meh. Number 132, One of a Kind Marcy. I was glad to see the Peanut Gang back, even if it was an underwhelming endeavor. Number 131, Taken From Me, the Tiffany Rubin story. This was a Lifetime true story that engaged me, but was ultimately unforgettable. Or ultimately forgettable. It was not unforgettable, trust me. It engaged me, but it was forgettable. Number 130, Boogeyman. There were some creepy moments here, but it was probably the worst of the Boogeyman movies. I didn't really enjoy it that much. There were some nice moments though. Number 129, My Dinner with Trump. 2 hours of watching adults gush over Trump during dinner. It was strangely entertaining, but has zero rewatch value. 128, Navigating Christmas. This was one of the better Hallmark Christmas movies, but it's still just a Hallmark Christmas movie. Number 127, Snow Day. This was a musical adaptation of the original Snow Day movie that's not as good as the original film. Number 126, Cocaine Bear, The True Story. So this documentary came out about the same time that the feature film did. This is a documentary about a true story where nothing really compelling happens. If you know the true story, you know that not much really happened. Number 125, Jeannie, Melissa McCarthy's latest movie that leaves you wondering if she was ever really funny. I don't know. Number 124, Disappeared, the Bradley Sisters. Disappeared is a television show on the Discovery Channel, and this was their first feature-length documentary, and I gotta say the episodes are better. Maybe this is just something that works better in 42-minute slices. Number 123, You Can't Escape Me. A very familiar concept with entertaining moments, but we've seen it done better. Number 122, Your Place or Mine. A romantic comedy that should have been better given the cast. Ashton Kutcher, what's her name? Legally Blonde. Can't remember. I keep wanting to say Renee Zellweger, but I know it's not it. Should have been better. 121, Christmas with Walt Disney. This was a very nostalgic look at Christmas of Disney past, and that's about it. Number 120, Life with Chucky. Not very rewatchable, but an entertaining documentary for Child's Play fans. Number 119, The Black Demon. This was a shark movie without much shark. This was mostly just an environmental message movie. Number 118, Everything Christmas. This one worked for some reasons that I can't explain. I don't know. I just remember thinking this one wasn't that bad. Number 117, The Girl Who Escaped, the Kara Robinson story. This was another Lifetime true story that did a fine job of making you feel anger about the main character's plight. It's a kidnapping story. Number 116, Xmas. This was an Amazon Prime original film that feels more like a Hallmark movie than a Netflix movie, but I gotta say, it mostly worked. Had a lot of problems, but it mostly worked. Number 115, You Are Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. This was a Netflix movie with Adam Sandler's daughter that should have been funnier given the talent that was involved in front of and behind the camera. Number 114, We Have a Ghost. This was an odd Netflix film that gets points for being original, but why would you take Chief Hopper, and make him a silent character? I don't know. Number 113, You People. This was a Netflix movie with Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy that isn't funny, and it should have been funny. But what it is a conversation starter. Number 112, Reporting for Christmas. Lots of Hallmark movies on here. I realized that this one was harmless. Number 111, 80 for Brady. Liked it more than I thought I would. It's still just a one-time watch though. Number 110, Die Hart with Kevin Hart. Funnier than I expected it to be. Self-referential, self-effacing humor often works. In this case, it mostly does. Number 109, The Devil's Academy. This was a decent Amazon Prime documentary. Number 108, Love is in the Air. This was a Netflix version of a Hallmark movie. Good enough, but that's a pretty low bar. Number 107, Paint. Owen Wilson is great. The rest of the movie is average. Number 106, Three Wise Men and a Baby. This Hallmark movie feels like it's part of the Three Men and a Baby franchise. I wonder if that's what they were going for. Number 105, Night of the Hunted. This is a very effective thriller with a terrible ending. The ending ruined it for me. Number 104, Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, I'm not a fan of the games. I'm not a fan of the IP, so that's why this is so low. I found this effort to be very middle of the road. So I completely respect and celebrate the people who love this franchise. I'm just not one of them. Number 103, Blind Water. This is a shark movie. I'm a sucker for shark movies. Even ones like this that aren't great. Number 102, The Pope's Exorcist. Russell Crowe is great. The rest of the movie is generic exorcist film. Number 101, Extraction 2. A lot of people I know love this movie. To be fair, Chris Hemsworth was very good in it. But I found it to be a pretty average action movie. Don't come after me, please. All right, we're in the top 100 now. At 100 is Legion of Superheroes. DC's animated films have missed the mark a lot recently. This one was okay, and I guess that's a win. Number 99, A Biltmore Christmas. This was the most original Hallmark movie that I've ever seen. It's actually worth a watch. Number 98, The Naughty Nine. The concept of this Disney Plus movie is a lot better than the execution, but the concept made it enjoyable. Number 97, Yeti Massacre. This is an interesting documentary about the Dial 12 Pass incident, but it doesn't really bring a lot new to the discussion other than what if a Yeti killed all the Russian hikers. Number 96, Doggone. Rob Lowe is good in this generic doggy film. Number 95, Family Switch. For a bad Netflix Christmas movie, I liked it a lot more than I should have. Number 94, Happiness for Beginners. Netflix's dark comedy about broken people. For some reason, it stuck with me, even though the film has problems. Number 93, Leo. Adam Sandler's latest Netflix effort was watchable and better than the last couple Hotel Transylvania films. Number 92, Love Again. Pretty good cast here rounds out a decent romantic comedy that wasn't quite good enough for theatrical. Number 91, Murder Mystery 2. Another Adam Sandler Netflix film that wasn't good, but it was good enough. Number 90, Slaughterhouse. A funny premise about a killer sloth, effective laughs, couldn't quite sustain for a full runtime. Number 89, Timeless Heroes, Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford. A Harrison Ford documentary pumped with Indiana Jones nostalgia. Number 88, Vacation Friends 2. Not as funny as the first, but there were some laughs here to be had. Number 87, Knock at the Cabin. I didn't like it as much as most people I know, but man, Dave Bautista was phenomenal in it. Number 86, Shotgun Wedding. Die Hard meets Mall Cop meets 27 Dresses. Objectively a bad film, but I found enjoyment in it. Number 85, Stan Lee. A Disney Plus documentary about the legend himself that is more of a Stan Lee commercial that completely avoids any of the controversy in his life. Number 84, Strays. Not as funny as I was hoping for, but fun. Number 83, The Flood. An effective, if generic, alligator attack film. Number 82, The Longest Third Date. This was a Netflix COVID documentary about a couple on their third date that gets stranded in a foreign country during COVID. Number 81, The River Wild. An unnecessary remake, not as good as the original, but different enough to feel fresh. 80, A Man Called Otto. I thought this one would be better, but Tom Hanks was good. Number 79, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Cabin Fever. The only Disney Plus Wimpy Kid feature that I've enjoyed so far. Number 78, Exorcist Believer. This should have been better. There's a clear disdain for the source material here. but I found myself enjoying it, oddly enough, probably because I don't have a lot of attachment or nostalgia for the source material. Number 77, Heart of Stone. I had fun with this one. Gal Gadot is awesome. Number 76, Joyride. This one was overhyped for me. Don't overhype comedies, because then you watch them and you're let down. Number 75, Sharksploitation. This is a documentary about shark movies, and it was right up my alley. Number 74, Take Me Back for Christmas. This is a Wonderful Life concept done a little differently. Number 73, The Beanie Bubble. Zach Galifianakis gives a great performance in this very odd film. Number 72, The Devil on Trial. This is a documentary about the same story that Conjuring 3 is based on. Number 71, probably pretty low on this list for some people, Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo for me was a little too long. I'm not usually a fan of racing movies, and I got a little bored with this one. But overall, I had a positive experience with it. Number 70, Jesus Revolution. This was another film that got overhyped by my Christian community. I liked it, but I definitely didn't love it. Number 69, Still, a Michael J. Fox movie. Michael J. Fox is an absolute inspiration in this documentary. Number 68, Retribution. Liam Neeson's latest action thriller. It's good enough, but it's also kind of forgettable. Number 67, Wish. Wish gets more hate than it deserves, but it's still not good enough. This should have been better. It feels like it was written by AI. Number 66, The Marvels. See what I said about Wish. This gets more hate than it deserves, but it was not good enough. Number 65, Dumb Money. They turned this one around very quickly. This was a quirky film. I lived through it. I remember following it on the news, as probably did most of you. It just felt like it came out a little too soon. Fun movie, though. Number 64, The Expendables 4. This one also gets more hate than it deserves. It delivered exactly what I was expecting. Exactly what I was expecting. Yeah, it looked cheap, but how could you expect anything different than what we got from this film? Number 63, The Meg 2, The Trench. A huge drop-off in quality from the first film. The middle part lagged, but giant shark carnage, sign me up. 62, Flamin' Hot. This was an engaging and funny Flamin' Hot Cheeto true story. I actually kind of enjoyed this one. I did enjoy this one. Number 61, Puppy Love. This was a sweet romantic comedy on Amazon Prime that for some reason it stuck with me. I just didn't forget this one. Number 60, The Outlaws. This was another bad film that entertained me. Yes, objectively, The Outlaws is a bad movie, but for whatever reason, I was entertained by it. Number 59, Talk to Me. A lot of people I know love this one. I know a lot of people who had this one in their top 10 for the year. I just liked it. Just liked it. I didn't dislike it. I just liked it. Number 58, Renfield. Nicolas Cage was wonderful in this, but he was not in it enough. Number 57, My Fault. This was a Spanish film that I didn't think I would like, but I ended up really enjoying. It kind of reminded me of maybe a Fast and the Furious spinoff that had a love story in it. Number 56, Ghosted. Ana de Armas is awesome. So awesome that she can even take an average movie like this and make it enjoyable. Number 55, The Nun 2. Better than the first, but can we get to The Conjuring 4 already? Number 54, Freelance. Listen, I know Freelance is not objectively a good movie, but we need more movies like this. Just dumb action movies that are not meant to be big tentpole franchise starters. Just those action movies from the 80s. Why can't we bring those back? Freelance tries to do that. Number 53, Elemental. Not my type of film, but I found myself having a good time with it anyways. Number 52, Cocaine Bear. I have two words written there. Silly, fun. And it was both those things. Number 51, The Little Mermaid. I liked it more than I expected to like it. I liked it more than most people liked it. It still had a lot of issues. Disney had way too big of investment into it for the issues that it had. Maybe it's just that I was a child when the first one came out, but I like this one. Number 50, Plane. Gerard Butler is still effective in action, even generic action like this. Number 49, No One Will Save You. One of the more effective alien home invasion silent film thrillers that I've ever seen. Number 48, The Machine. Mark Hamill really endeared me to this movie, and I found it to be pretty funny. Number 47, The Haunted Mansion. My fandom for the ride probably made me predispose this one more. Let me start again. My fandom for the ride probably predisposed me to like this one more than I probably should have. Number 46, Champions. This one was funny, and it could have easily gone off the rails given the subject material, and it didn't. Number 45, Air. This one is a very good movie. I've seen a lot of people put it much higher than this on their list, but for me, it doesn't really have any rewatchability. Number 44, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The MCU has fallen on hard times, but this one does get more hate than it deserves. Don't get me wrong, it deserves some hate, but it gets more than it deserves. If you're hating on MODOK, then I'm right there with you. Number 43, A Disturbance in the Force. This is a documentary about the Star Wars holiday special that really worked for me. I actually watched it twice. Number 42, Megan. A fun new take on the Child's Play concept. Not scary, nothing new here, but pretty effective. Number 41, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. A generic superhero film of people in capes punching people in capes. Still had a good time with it. Number 40, Old Dads. I like this movie. Probably because I related to it. All right, into the 30s now. Number 39, It's a Wonderful Knife. I liked this one more than most people. It was one of my favorite horror films of the year. Number 38 is 65. This one should have been better, but it also could have been a lot worse. Number 37, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Yeah, I like this one better than the first one. I realize that I'm alone on that island, but I did. Number 36, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I'm a lifelong TMNT fan. I wanted to like this more than I did. It was good, but they made a lot of decisions here that just didn't work for me. Number 35, Super Mario Brothers. One of the biggest films of the year, and I felt that it was geared a little too much towards little kids. Still had a good time with it. Number 34, Mr. Monk's Last Case. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of the Monk television series, but for whatever reason, I found this one to be an engaging mystery about a man at the end of his career. 33, Sly. This was a Sly Stallone documentary that I enjoyed it. 32, Lady Ballers. Controversial, but there's a lot of laughs here. I guess that's depending on your point of view. Number 31, The Family Plan. I love Mark Wahlberg, and that's probably why I like this one. Number 30, Fast X. Better than Fast 9. Not as good as most of the other franchise, but Jason Momoa was great. Number 29, Blue Beetle. One of the better comic book movies this year, even if most people took a pass on it. Number 28, Big George Foreman. A true story of a boxing legend that really worked for me. I found it very engaging. Number 27, No Hard Feelings. Yeah, the concept is odd, maybe a little icky, but I laughed a lot, and Jennifer Lawrence did not annoy me, which is also kind of odd. Number 26, The Marsh King's Daughter. This was another film that nobody watched, but I really enjoyed. Into the top 25. 25, Transformers: Rise of the Beast. With Bumblebee, this makes two Transformers films in a row that I've liked. And in the words of Rachel Zegler, weird, weird. Number 24, Tetris. A crazy concept that worked. Apple TV is bringing it with their movies. Number 23, True Spirit. This is a true story about the youngest person to sail solo around the world, and it really inspired me. 22, On a Wing and a Prayer. This was a faith-based film about a family trapped on a disabled airplane, based on a true story, and it was pretty good. Dennis Quaid was very good in it. Number 21, Barbie, the biggest movie of the year. I didn't expect to like it at all, but I did like it, and I am Knuff. Number 20, Creed 3. By far the weakest of the Creed films, but still a very enjoyable experience. Number 19, A Haunting in Venice. I've liked all 3 films in this franchise, and I think I liked this one the most. Number 18, Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. This is one of the underappreciated gems of 2023. If you haven't seen D&D, go watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. Number 17, Wonka. This one could have been terrible. Turns out it's the exact opposite, just as Willy Wonka would want. Number 16, Journey to Bethlehem. Now, my Christian faith probably makes me a little less discerning on the quality of this film, but I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. I liked the music, and I liked the movie. Number 15, Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. This one still should have been better. Number 14, The Flash. Bad CGI aside, this movie was so much fun. It was great seeing Michael Keaton back. Number 13, John Wick Chapter 4. It was better than Part 2. Not as good as Parts 1 or Part 3. Still a great movie. I haven't disliked any of the John Wick movies. I've liked them all. Number 12, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This was a step down from Fallout. Still a great action spy thriller, and obviously one of the best movies of the year. Number 11, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is my second favorite in the Hunger Games franchise behind Catching Fire. And it seems like I liked this one more than most people did. But yeah, I liked it. Into the top 10. Are we ready? Okay, here we go. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Much better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'm such a huge Indy fan. Obviously, it's in the top 10. I still wish that it was better than it was. If it was better than it was, it would have probably been in the top 3. But it has to settle for 10th place. Number 9, Scream 6. For me, this was definitely one of the better Scream sequels. Number 8, The Creator. An original sci-fi film that looks great and didn't break the bank. We need more movies like this. We need to support more movies like this. Number 7, The Sound of Freedom. I'm not really sure why this film was divisive and why it became so political. Like, saving kids from sex trafficking is a divisive thing. I don't get it. I enjoyed it. Number 6, The Holdovers. This movie made me feel better than any film this year. I just got a warm, fuzzy feeling watching this. It was a fantastic film. Number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Better than Part 2. Nowhere near as good as Part 1. Still a ton of fun. I loved Guardians 3. Number 4, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Can they do it 3 times in a row? Can they deliver an amazing film 3 times in a row? We'll find out next year. Number 3, Totally Killer. I can't believe this is my 3rd favorite film of the year. But I got so much out of Totally Killer. I loved it. I watched it several times. All right, number 2. Number 2 is Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan is a master. He can even make boring Senate hearings, inquisitions, and interviews interesting. This movie was a lot of talking, and I was thrilled by it. But my number 1 film of 2023 is Godzilla Minus One. If you would have asked me a year ago what my number 1 movie of the year would have been, I would have never told you a Godzilla movie because I didn't even know this was coming out till like October. Godzilla Minus One is the best film of the year. It was engaging on every level, told a great story, and made Godzilla scary again. So, those are the 182 movies that I watched this year from worst to best. Let me know in the comments below what you think I got completely wrong, and maybe I talked about something here briefly that you haven't seen yet, and I've inspired you to watch it. So let me know if anything like that happened as well. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me here on this ranking. I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. And until next time, we'll see you later.